Roger, TV circuit breakers in. Read loud and clear.
Roger. And we're getting a picture on the TV.
So you got a good picture, huh?
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make out a fair amount of detail.
Okay, would you verify the position, the opening I ought to have on the camera?
Stand by. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked, getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up.
Roger, we copy.
It's a pretty good little jump.
Buzz, this is Houston, F2, 1/160th second for shadow photography on the sequence camera.
Okay. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The LEM footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the LEM now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Yes, the surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot. I only go in small fraction of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch, but I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads in the fine sandy particles.
Neil, this is Houston. We're copying.
There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around. The decent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount. Okay, Buzz, we ready to bring down the camera?
I'm all ready. I think it's 2 miles squared away in good shape.
Okay.
Okay, you'll have to pay out all the LEC. It looks like it's coming out nice and evenly.
Okay, it's quite dark here in the shadow and a little hard for me to see that I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun.
Okay, it's taut now.
Unofficial time on the first step, 109.2420.
Okay, I think it's pulling the wrong one.
Okay, I'm ready to pull it down now. There was still a little bit left in the...
Okay, don't hold it quite so tight. Okay? No.
Looking up at the lamb, I'm standing directly in the shadow now, looking up at Buzz in the windows. And I can see everything quite clearly. The light is sufficiently bright, backlighted into the front of the lamb, that everything is very clearly visible.
Okay, I'm going to be changing it up.
Okay.
Surgeon says that
Camera installed on the ICU bracket.
surgeon says the crew is doing well. Data is good, crew is doing well.
And I'm still in the LEC on the secondary strut. I'll step out and take some of my first pictures here.
Roger, Neil. We're reading you loud and clear. Let's see, getting some pictures and the contingency sample.
.35 and a half minutes of PLSS time expended now.
Neil, this is Houston. Did you copy about the contingency sample? Over.
All right, you're going to get to that just as soon as I finish these picture series.
Okay, going to get the contingency sample there, Neil?
Right.
Okay, that's good. Okay, the contingency sample is down and it's up sample. Like it's a little difficult to dig through the
It's very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I plug with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears to be very cohesive material of the same sort. I'll try to get a rock in here. Get the couple.
Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil.
It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Be advised that a lot of the rock samples out here, the hard rock samples, have what appear to be vesicles in the surface. Also, I'm looking at one now that appears to have some sort of phenocryst.
Houston, roger out.
Okay, the handle is off the push it in about 6 to 8 inches into the surface. Like it's pretty easy to arm.
It is. It's. I'm sure I could push it in farther, but it's hard for me to bend down farther than that. Dan,
Now you could throw so
you
far.
can really throw things a long way up here. My pocket open, but
Yes, it is. It's not up against your suit, though. Hit it back once more. More toward the inside. Okay, that's good.
that in the pocket?
Yeah, push down. Got it? No, it's not all the way in. Push it. There you go.
Contingency sample is in the pocket. My oxygen is 81%. I have no flags, and I'm in minimum flow.
This is Houston. Roger, Neil.
Okay, I got the camera going at 1 frame a second.
Okay.
And I've got 80%, no flags. Good.
Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston?
Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. Neil, this is Houston. We're getting a picture. You're not in at the present time. We can see the bag on the LEC being moved by Buzz, though. Here you come into our field of view.
Oh, let me move that over the edge for you.
Okay, ready for me to come out?
Yeah, just stand by a second. I'll move this over the handrail. Okay.
All right, that's got it. Are you ready?
All set. Okay, you saw what difficulties I was having. I'll try to watch your bliss from underneath here.
All right, the backup camera is position.
Okay, your bliss looks like it's clearing okay. The toes are about to come over the sill. Okay, now drop your bliss down. There you go, you're clear. And laterally you're good. Got an inch clearance on the top of your bliss.
Okay, you need a little bit of arching of the back to come down. How far are my feet from the...
Okay, you're right at the edge of the porch.
Okay. Back in from... Small little foot movement. Porch. So arching of the back. Moment comes up and clears the bulkhead without any trouble at all.
That's good.
.45 minutes PLSS time expended.
Neil, this is Houston. Based on your camera transfer with the LEC, do you foresee any difficulties in SRC transfer over?
Difficulties in SR.
Negative.
That's the sample return containers, the rock boxes that Capcom...
Now I want to back up and partially close the hatch. Making sure not to lock it on my way out.
Particularly good thought.
That's our home for the next couple hours. We want to take good care of it. Okay, I'm on the top step and I can look down over the RCU and landing gear pad. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next.
Yes, I found it to be very comfortable, and walking is also very comfortable. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one.
Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there and both hands down to about the 4th rung up.
There you go.
Okay, now I think I'll do the same.
A little more. About another inch. There, you got it?
That's a good step.
Yep. About a 3-footer.
Beautiful view.
Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here.
Magnificent desolation.
Both PLSS is nominal on consumables.
Looks like the secondary strut have little thermal effects on it right here, Neil.
Yeah, I noticed that. Seems to be the worst, although similar effects are on all around.
Very, very fine powder, isn't it?
Isn't it fine?
Right in this area, I don't think there's much of any but fine powder. Some clouds together, and it's hard to tell whether it's a cloud or a rock.
Notice how you can pick it out.
Yeah, and it bounces and then reaching down, fairly easy. Get up my suit 30 at this stage. The mass of the backpack does have some effect in inertia. There's a slight tendency I can see now to backwards due to the soft, very soft texture.
Oh, you're standing on a rock, big rock there now.
Sure didn't.
No, it didn't.
That's no crater there at all from the engine.
No?
I wonder if that right under the engine is where probe might have hit. I'd like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good representation of our sideward velocity of touchdown. That folded the probe.
I'll see that probe over on the minus Y strut. Open off and bent back up.
That did, didn't it? The other two both bent over.
Can't say too much for the visibility right here without the visor up. Pretty dark. It looks like there's And incidentally, these rocks, very powdery surface.
Say again, please, Buzz. You're cutting out.
And here's some. I say that the rocks are rather slippery.
Roger.
Very powdery surface. When it's on there, it's fill up all the very little fine porises. They'll tend to slide over it rather easily.
Neil Armstrong getting ready to move the TV camera now out to its panorama position.
Traction seems quite good. Particular area. Start to lose my balance in one direction, and recovery is quite natural and very easy. And moving arms around, Jack doesn't drop the surface. Not quite that light-footed.
And I have the insulation off the Mesa now. The Mesa seems to be in good shape.
You have to be careful that you're leaning in the direction you want to go, otherwise you slightly inebriate. So if you have to cross your foot over to stay underneath where your center of mass is. Hey Neil, didn't I say we might see some purple rocks?
Find a purple rock?
Yep. Very small, sparkly fragments are rock. They reflect the sun in places. I would make a first guess at some sort of biotite. Leave that to the further analysis. But soil compacts underneath. No, you don't sink down more than a quarter of an inch.
Biotite is a brown mica substance.
Okay, Houston, I'm going to change lenses on you.
Roger, Neil.
Life support consumables still looking good.
Okay, Houston, tell me if get a new picture.
Neil, this is Houston. That's affirmative. We're getting a new picture. You can tell it's a longer focal length lens.
Thank you. is now unveiling the plaque that is.
Roger, we got you bore-sighted, but back to one side.
For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's two hemispheres, one showing each of the two hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. It came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Ready for the camera? I'll get it.
Are you taking TV on now?
Touch the LEC there.
I'm afraid these marked materials are going to get rusty. The surface material powdery. I don't know how good your lens is, but if you can touch it above. Very much like a very finely powdered carbon, but pretty looking.
You pull out some of my cable for me, please.
Houston, how close are you able to get things in focus?
This is Houston. We can see Buzz's right hand. It's somewhat out of focus. I'd say we were focusing down to probably, about 8 inches to a foot behind the position of his hand when he was pulling out the cable.
Okay, how's the temperature looking there?
Temperature of the camera is showing cold.
I'm a little tool, I think I'll change. Oh. I'm on intermediate now, Houston, and I show 3.78. No flags, 74.
Houston, roger out.
And we'll probably need a little distance back location. Television camera. And Neil, it look at the minus 5, the direction of travel there. Look from right to left.
Right.
So this one over here underneath the SN where the probe first hit. Minus my probe first hit.
I got plenty of cable.
You got plenty more. Okay, I think I got the end of it.
Something interesting in the bottom of this little crater here. Maybe.
Now keep going. We got a lot more.
Okay.
Getting a little harder to pull out here.
If you stand on the ladder facing forward, the minus Y strut is the landing gear to your left.
Say I am, Buzz.
40, 50 feet. Why don't you turn around and let them get a view from there and
Okay.
see what the field of view looks like. You're backing into the cable.
Okay.
Turn around to your right, be better.
I don't want to go into the sun if I can avoid it.
That's right, yeah.
Just leave it.
All right, let it
Sit
settle
like
out.
that and walk around it.
Houston, how's that field of view going to be? Pick up the mesa. Far away?
Right. Neil, this is Houston. The field of view is okay. We'd like you to aim it a little bit more to the right, over.
Okay.
Okay, that's all the cable we have. All the way out. I'll start working on the shoulder.
A little bit too much to the right. Can you bring it back left about 4 or 5 degrees? Okay, that looks good, Neil.
Yeah, that looks good. No.
Okay, now, think I ought to be farther away or closer?
Can't get too much further away.
Let's try it like that for a while. I'll get a couple panoramas with it here.
Roger, you look okay as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. You're going too fast on the panorama sweep. You're going to have to stop for...
I haven't stopped. I haven't set it down yet. That's the first picture in the panorama. Right there.
Roger.
It's taken just about northeast. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston.
Well, we've got a beautiful picture, Neil.
Okay, I'm going to move it.
Okay, there's another good one. Okay, we got that one.
Okay, now this one's right down sun, straight west. And I want to know if you can see an angular rock in the foreground.
Roger, we have a large angular rock in the foreground, and looks like a much smaller rock a couple of inches to the left of it, over.
Right, and then on beyond it about 10 feet is an even larger rock that's very rounded. That rock is about, the closest one to you is about sticking out of the sand about 1 foot, and it's about 1.5 feet long, and it's about 6 inches thick, but it's standing on edge.
Roger.
Okay, Neil, I've got the table out. Got a bag deployed.
We got this view, Neil.
Straight south.
Roger, and we see the shadow of the limb.
In the hills, Roger, the little hills just beyond the shadow of the limb is a pair of elongate craters, about probably the pair together is 40 feet long and 20 feet across, and they're probably 6 feet deep. We'll probably get some more work in there later.
Roger, and we see Buzz going about his work.
How's that for a final
For a final orientation, we'd like it to come left about 5 degrees, over. Back to the right about half as much.
Okay.
Okay, that looks good there, Neil.
Yeah, that looks good. Okay.
One hour, 7 minutes time expended.
Okay, you can make a mark, Houston.
Roger, slow in.
And incidentally, you can use the shadow that the staff makes to assist you in getting it perpendicular.
Buzz is erecting the solar wind experiment now.
Some of these small depressions big pop, and you tend to think, well, maybe 2 or 3 inches. I can see just exactly what the layer pictures showed when they pushed away a little bit. You can see force transmitted through the upper surface of the soil, and about 5 or 6 inches away, it breaks loose and moves as if it were caked on the surface, when in fact it really isn't.
I noticed in the soft spots where we have footprints nearly an inch deep that the soil is very cohesive, and it will retain a slope of probably 70 degrees on the side of the footprint.
All lens systems still looking good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's next. Did it come on? Want me to get the camera?
Take that part. Go out here with them. Put up to the rock here.
have to extend that one.
Columbia, this is Houston, ALS, over.
Houston, ALS, over.
Neil Armstrong's been on the lunar surface now almost 45 minutes.
It's bad. I don't have a camera. Columbia on the high gate, over.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading you loud and clear, over.
Yeah, this is Houston reading. Yeah, reading you loud and clear. How's it going?
Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully. I believe they're setting up the flag now.
Great.
I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene.
That's all right. I don't mind a bit. How is the quality of the TV?
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike. It really is.
Oh, geez, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent?
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
See if you can pull that end off a little bit. Tighten that end up a little.
It won't go up. Okay.
Neil, this is Houston, radio check, over.
Hi, Roger. Houston, loud and clear.
Roger out.
Loud and clear, Houston.
Roger, Buzz.
I'd like to evaluate the various paces that a person can traveling on the lunar surface. I believe I'm out of your field of view. Is that right now, Houston?
That's affirmative, Buzz. You're in our field of view now.
You do have to be. All right, you do have to be rather careful to keep track of where your center of mass is. Sometimes it takes about 2 or 3 paces to make sure that you've got your feet underneath you. And about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 easy paces can bring you to a fairly smooth stop. Direction. Like a football player, you just have to put out to the side and cut a little bit. So-called kangaroo hop does work, but it seems your forward ability is not quite as good as it is in the conventional, more conventional one foot after another. As far as saying what a main pace might be, I think the one that I'm using now would get rather tiring after several hundred. But this may be a function of the suit as well as lack of gravity force here.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. Could we get both of you on the camera for a minute, please?
Say again, Houston?
Roger, we'd like to get both of you in the field of view of the camera for a minute. Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you. Over.
That would be an honor.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you do. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure they too join with America in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world. And as you talk to us from the Sea of Tranquility, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to bring peace and tranquility to Earth. For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done, and one in our prayers that you will return safely to Earth.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here representing not only the United States, but men of peace of all nations, men with interest and a curiosity, and men with a vision for the future. Honor for us to be able to participate here today.
And thank you very much, and I look forward, all of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday.
Look forward to that very much, sir.
Columbia, Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Loud and clear, Houston.
Roger, I've got a P-22 auto optics pad for you.
Roger, go ahead.
Roger, P-22, landmark ID, LEM, T1 1102656, T2 1103206, 3 miles south. Time of closest approach 1103340. Shaft 353.855. Trunnion 46.495. Roll 0. Pitch 250. Yaw 0. Over.
Roger, thank you. Feedback now required.
Roger, out.
Houston, it's very interesting to note that when I kick my foot material with no atmosphere here and it's gravity, they seem to leave, and most of them have about the same angle of departure and velocity. As where I stand, the large portion of them will impact at a certain distance out. There are several percentage, of course, that will impact different regions out, but it's highly dependent upon initial trajectory upwards, determines where most of the majority of the particles come down, like the terrain.
Roger, Buzz, and break, Columbia, this is Houston. When you track out of high gain antenna limits, request Omni Delta. Omni Delta, over.
Oh, man. I've noticed several times in going from the sunlight into shadow that just as I go in, I catch an additional reflection off the LEM, along with the reflection off my face onto the visor, makes visibility very poor just at the transition sunlight into the shadow. I essentially have so much glare coming onto my visor, I'm in shadow, till helmet actually gets shadow, and then it takes a short while for my eyes to adapt to lighting conditions. Inside the shadow area, visibility, as we've said before, is not too great, but both visors up, we can certainly get what sort of footprints we have and the general condition of the soil. Then after being out in the sunlight a while, it takes, watch it, Neil. Neil, you're on the cable. Okay. Yeah, lift up your right foot. Right foot. It's still, your toe is still hooked in it. That one? Yeah, it's still hooked in it. Come in. Okay, you're clear now. Thank you. Now let's move that over this way.
Neil Armstrong has the scoop for the bulk sample collection.
The blue color of my boots have completely disappeared now into this still don't know exactly what color to describe this other than grayish cocoa color. Seems to be covering most of the wider part of the boot. Color that had very fine particles.
Buzz, this is Houston. You're cutting out on the end of your transmissions. Can you speak a little more closely into your microphone? Over.
Roger, I'll try that.
Beautiful.
Well, I had that one inside my mouth that time.
Sounded a little wet.
A little wet.
Neil's been on the surface an hour now. Buzz, not quite 20 minutes less than that.
In general, time spent in the shadow doesn't seem to have any thermal effects. We still inside the suit. There is a difference, of course, in the coming radiation and the helmet, so I think there's a tendency to feel a little cooler in the shadow than we out in the sun.
Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Columbia, this is Houston, over.
One hour and a half expended on the PLSSs now.
Columbia, this is Houston, over. Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Houston, Columbia, Delta.
Roger, you should have VHF AOS with the LEM right about now. VHF LOS will be at 40 minutes, 15 seconds, over.
Thank you.
Heart rates on both crewmen averaging between 90 and 100. Flight surgeon reports they're right on the predicted number of the BTU units expended in energy of work. And he thinks they're in great shape.
I look around the area, the contrast in general is comes about completely by virtue of the shadows, almost complete. Looking down sun, zero phase, very light colored gray, light gray colored, like the halo around my own shadow, around the shadow of my helmet. Then as I look off across sun, the contrast becomes strongest in that the surrounding color is still fairly light. As you look down into the sun, a larger amount of shadowed areas looking toward us. The general color of the surrounding is darker than cross sun. Contrast is not as great. Surveying all the dusty area that we've picked up, considerably darker in texture. Now, I've picked up one. I imagine that this has been out by certain impacts that we've that's a distinct surveyor. The same is true if I survey cross sun along the area that we're talking. General is to the fact that there are footprints there. General terrain where I've been up out of this surface material is generally of a darker contrast surrounding color.
You can see Neil Armstrong bringing scoop.
The panorama I'll be taking is about 30 to 40 feet out to plus. But
Say again which strut, please, Buzz.
So it seems the plus V strut.
Roger.
And, right in this area there are two craters. The one that's right in front of me now as I look off in about the 11 o'clock position from spacecraft, about 30 to 35 feet across. And several blocks of boulders, 6, 8 inches across, different sizes.
Neil is filling the bulk sample bag attached to a scale. You can see him in the picture. Buzz is behind the lamb at the minus Z strut. That's the landing gear directly opposite the ladder. Neil's been on the surface about an hour and 10 minutes now.
I'm now in the area of the minus Y strut. Taking some section photographs.
Buzz is making his way around the LEM, photographing it from various angles, looking at its condition on all sides. Neil's still occupied with the bulk sample. One hour, 40 minutes time expended on the PLSSs now.
How's the bulk sample coming, Neil?
Bulk sample is just being sealed.
Columbia, this is Houston. Go ahead, over.
Roger, no marks on the left that time. I did see a suspiciously small white object move towards the star.
Go ahead with the coordinates on the small white object. Roger, copy Echo decimal 3 and 7 decimal 6. And Columbia, this is Houston. While I'm talking to you, LOS will be at 111 1931. AOS 112 0543. Over. Columbia, this is Houston. Did you copy LOS, AOS times? Over.
Negative, Houston. You're broken. Disregard. I might get them off the flight plan.
Roger, out.
The DOS deflector